The date of foundation of the United States of America is considered July 4, 1776. On this day, independence from Great Britain was proclaimed, although it was recognized only in 1783. The national emblem of the state, the Great Seal, was developed for 6 years and approved on June 20, 1782. It has two unequal sides and many elements with the number 13, symbolizing the originally United States. On its front side there is an eagle and the inscription, translated, one of many, and on the reverse side there is a pyramid with the Masonic Eye of Providence crowning it, and the inscriptions approve the undertakings, apparently God, a new order of the ages. One of the recognizable symbols of the United States is its stars and stripes, which Americans selflessly honor. 13 alternating stripes represent the number of British colonies that formed the state, and 50 stars indicate the number of states. White is associated with innocence, blue with justice, red with valor. The design of the flag was selected and approved in 1960 after an open competition, which was won by 17-year-old Robert Heft. Curiously, the country's Supreme Court in 1989 ruled that the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution allowed the public to protest by burning the flag. The U.S. dollar is one of the world's major reserve currencies. In some countries, it is used as a legal but parallel currency unit, in others as an unofficial means of determining prices when the exchange rate of their own currency is unstable. It is estimated that 80% of financial and commercial transactions are settled in U.S. dollars. The first coins were minted in 1794, replacing the Spanish counterpart. The basic design of the banknotes was approved in 1928. Green implies an unconscious trust in money, and the inscription "In God We Trust" translates as "We believe in God," and is the country's official motto. The United States occupies the 4th place in the world in terms of area, 9.5 million square meters, and 3rd in terms of population, over 330 million people. In addition to the main territory in the center of the North American continent, the state includes Alaska and Hawaii that have no borders with it, and 5 inhabited and 9 uninhabited island territories are subordinate to it. Since 1959, the United States has united 50 states. The largest of them in terms of population is California, over 39.5 million people, and the smallest is Wyoming, about 570,000 people. The largest territory is occupied by Alaska, 1,718,000 square meters. The most compact is Rhode Island, 4,000 square meters. All U.S. states except Alabama have official nicknames. The shores of the United States are washed by 3 oceans: the Atlantic in the east, the Pacific in the west, and the Arctic in the north. The state of Alaska has the longest coastline, more than 10.5 thousand kilometers, followed by Florida, almost 2.2 thousand kilometers. The second largest lake in the world, 82,000 square km, is partly located in Canada, and the largest lake within the United States is Michigan, 57.8 square km. The country has 250,000 rivers, with a total length of 5.6 million kilometers. The longest and deepest of them, one of the greatest in the world, is the Mississippi, 3.77 kilometers, and the shortest is 36 m. Niagara Falls is one of the most famous on the planet. More than half of the U.S. volcanoes are located in Alaska, including the Aleutian Islands. In terms of the number of eruptions over the past century, it ranks 4th after Indonesia, Japan, and South America. On average, emissions occur 2 times a year, and large eruptions occur approximately once every 30 years. However, only 3 cases of human death are known, since volcanoes in Alaska are located in sparsely or completely uninhabited territories. In 1912, the world's largest eruption of the 20th century took place here. As a result of the activity of Novarupta Katmaya, all living things were destroyed within a radius of 80 kilometers, and the ashes reached the state of Washington. The climate of the United States is characterized by frequent tornadoes and hurricanes. The country is the leader in the number of tornadoes. In especially dangerous areas, there are sirens warning residents, and anti-tornado shelters are provided in their homes. Hurricane Katrina, the most destructive in U.S. history, covered more than 230,000 square meters. km in 2005 and actually destroyed New Orleans. The most powerful tornado with a wind speed in a funnel of up to 322 km/h was recorded in 2013 in Oklahoma. The oldest living city in the United States of America is St. Augustine. It is located on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean and belongs to the state of Florida. The city was founded in 1565 by the Spanish Admiral Pedro Menéndez de Aviles on the site of a devastated French colony and named after St. Augustine, since Pedro arrived here on the day of veneration of the Christian preacher. Today, the city is home to about 15,000 people. Tourist attractions include the oldest school and oldest house. The top 10 major cities in the United States are millionaires. The oldest university in the United States, and one of the famous universities in the world, is considered to be Harvard in Massachusetts. It was founded in 1636 and named after the Christian missionary John Harvard. At the end of the 19th century, the educational institution was recognized as central in the circles of the Boston elite. The university leads the country in the number of billionaire alumni. 75 Nobel Prize winners are associated with it in one way or another. 8 U.S. presidents studied here: Oscar winners Natalie Portman and Tommy Lee Jones, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, and the creators of the popular social network Facebook. There have been several gold rush events in the United States. The first was Karolinska, which began in 1799 with the discovery by 12-year-old Conrad Reed of a 17-pound gold nugget, 7.71 kilograms, which the boy's father found use as a support for the door. A couple of years later, the elder Reed showed the stone to a jeweler and offered to buy it for $3.50, not realizing that it was then worth $3,600. Subsequently, he took up gold mining, built a mine, and became incredibly rich. Its workers have repeatedly found large nuggets, the largest of which turned out to be 28 pounds, 12.7 kilograms. Today, the site of the first gold find in the United States is a National Historic Landmark. The United States is a country of immigrants. About 1 million people arrive here every year. At the end of the 19th century, 85% of the visitors were from Europe, and a century later, up to 70% of the flow fell on the countries of Asia and Latin America. Most of all in the United States are Mexicans, more than 11 million, Indians about 2.7 million, Chinese almost 2.3 million. The largest in the Western Hemisphere, Chinatown is located in San Francisco, 100,000 Chinese, and Manhattan in New York City. The most famous place of compact residence of immigrants from the countries of the former USSR is Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, New York. According to various estimates, 70 to 80,000 Russians live here, as the Americans call all immigrants from the territory of the Union. Slavery, known in America since 1619, was abolished by Abraham Lincoln in 1862. A year earlier, the Civil War had begun between the industrial North and the slave South. The victory of the first in 1865 led to the de facto abolition of slavery, but the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which approved it, was not ratified by all states. For example, in Kentucky this happened only in 1976, and in Mississippi 19 years later in 1995, the document got into the state register only in 2013. The abolition of slavery gave rise to another phenomenon: racial segregation, division. For whites and blacks up to the 1970s, different schools, cafes, transport, toilets, etc. were intended. The indigenous inhabitants of the American continent, the Indians, did not have civil rights in the United States until 1924. To date, 567 tribes are officially recognized by the authorities, most of which have their own reservations with the right to self-government. The United States is home to approximately 5 million Indians, most of them in California, Oklahoma, and Arizona. Until 1967, interracial marriage was prohibited in the country, with the exception of several states that annulled in the period 1942 to 67. The law forbidding the mixing of races. In 2015, by decision of the Supreme Court, same-sex marriage was legalized in all states of the United States. In the famous Silicon Valley, located in the state of California, a huge number of high-tech companies with a worldwide reputation are concentrated. The headquarters of Apple, Intel, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Hewlett-Packard, Symantec, Facebook, Xerox and others are located here. Oregon has a similar center, the Silicon Forest. The companies based here specialize in monitors, printers and software products. There are headquarters or divisions of Epson, Aris, IBM, Mentor Graphics, Infocus, Tektronix, etc. Many high-tech companies are home to the United States. USA is the birthplace of skyscrapers. The first home insurance building appeared in Chicago in 1885 and was demolished in 1931. The country was in the lead in the construction of high-rise buildings, but in the 21st century, she lost the championship to the UAE and China. The tallest skyscraper in the United States and the Western Hemisphere, Freedom Tower in Lower Manhattan, 546.2 m with an antenna, is ranked 7th in the list of tallest buildings on the planet. Most of the American skyscrapers are in New York, 216 above 180 m, Chicago, 114 above 150 m, and Los Angeles, 25 above 150 m. In the United States, namely in the city of Paradise, Nevada, there are half of the top 10 largest hotels in the world. The pentagonal building of the Pentagon is considered the largest office building in the world. Its perimeter is more than 1.4 kilometers, and the length of the corridors is 28 kilometers, a country of fast food and, as a result, a huge number of people suffering from obesity. The first fast food companies were A&W, 1919, California, and White Castle, 1921, Kansas. The signature dish of the second was the hamburger, which until 1946 was sold at a fixed price of 5 cents apiece. It is assumed that emigrants from Hamburg are related to the characteristic German name of the product. In 1940, the first McDonald's restaurant was opened in San Bernardino, California, and 8 years later, the company's owners developed the concept of fast food. Today, American fast food restaurant chains have retail outlets all over the world. In 1871, a German émigré began to sell in the United States the Dachshund sausage invented by the Frankfurt butcher Lahner, wrapping it in slices of bread. According to one of the versions, in 1901 a certain Dargan copied from life another seller, putting sausages in cut rolls, and for some reason called the product hot dog. The hot dog eating championship is held in New York on July 4th. Joey Chestnut, a U.S. citizen who won the competition more than 10 times and swallowed 74 sausage rolls in 10 minutes in 2018, was recognized as the best eater for today. Americans celebrate Hot Dog Day on July 23. The founder of franchising is Isaac Singer, who was born in Pittstown, New York, in 1811, and who founded the Singer Sewing Machine Company in 1851 with William Clark. His firm entered into written agreements with partners for the right to sell and repair the machines, which allowed them to support their mass production and service, as well as set competitive prices. Singer had 5 wives and at least 23 children. After being accused of bigamy, he had to flee to Europe, where he died at the age of 63, leaving more than $22 million and 2 villas behind. Americans are generous with smiles and compliments that, in fact, mean nothing, simple politeness and support that helps to believe in their own strength. A response to the good done to a person should not be expected, since they are free people and do not owe anything to anyone. Local residents are tolerant and respect the opinion of the interlocutor, so it is unlikely that it will be possible to understand whether they agree with you or not. In order not to hurt the feelings of the other, they will not argue. The Americans gave the world paper bags, transistors, mufflers, cable TV, duct tape, a microwave oven, the first mainstream personal computer and OS, an electric chair, a Ferris wheel, a cotton candy maker, rock and roll, musical and much more. The US has giant sales and shopping opportunities abound. Black Fridays with the lowest prices are accompanied by colossal queues, crowds and battles between buyers, widely covered by TV channels. On labels in the United States, the amount is indicated without taxes, to which at the checkout is added 8 to 18% depending on the state. A product you don't like can be easily returned, the rules and terms depend on the store. During poor traffic hours, many cafes, bars and restaurants organize happy hours with decent discounts. American tip is almost the law.